Naruto, I am Indra. 1 System activation. I am Indra. New book collection. New book asks for a wave of collections, a wave of flowers. Darkness shrouded the earth, and above the sky, thunder and lightning met, pouring rain. Above a certain canyon, under the handover of thunder and lightning, the underground corpses are looming. The rain was mixed with blood and dyed the entire canyon red, which made people look shocking. Those who knew what happened here were probably the only survivors. Click, click, click. The 2 seriously injured survivors supported each other and prepared to leave this shocking canyon. It's so cold. Do you think we can get out of this canyon alive? It's definitely possible, not far away. I know where there is a cave. We can go inside to hide from the rain. Suddenly, at this time, a white light descended from the sky, illuminating the entire canyon. After just a few seconds, it disappeared. What was that just now? Is it an enemy? A Senju survivor asked his companion suspiciously. Ha ha ha. Another survivor of the Senju clan laughed a few times. Due to the serious injury, he couldn't help coughing violently. After a while, he continued, "It's just a thunderbolt. I see you panic. Are you sure it's as simple as hitting a thunderbolt?" Kaido, a survivor of the Senju clan, was uneasy. "Don't think too much. Let's hurry up, otherwise, we didn't die in the brutal war, but in the bad weather." Another survivor of the Senju clan said, "That's right. Now they have been seriously injured, and although they are weak, in addition to the harsh and cold weather today, even if they survived the brutal war, they may not be able to survive in this harsh weather." Cough cough. Not far from them, a coughing sound reached the ears of the 2 Senju clan. "Anyone still alive? Is it an enemy or a friend?" The mood of the 2 survivors could not help but tense up again. Listening to the coughing sound is a person, and he must have been seriously injured like me and survived. "That's right. Let's go and see. If there is a survivor of Uchiha, we will wipe him out immediately." Brush. 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 The bean-sized raindrops kept hitting a young man lying on the ground at the moment. He was wearing a loose white shirt with 6 black hooks printed on his chest. The wet brown fluffy hair was soaked by the blood mixed with the rain from the ground. I saw his eyelids trembling a few times, and he opened his heavy eyelids. At this moment, a drop of water the size of a pea hit his eyes. Oh! He quickly stretched out his hand and gently rubbed the eye that was hit by the rain. A slight pain was transmitted to his brain. Ding! Overlord system starts. Host, Otsutsuki Indra. Age, 8 years old. Anything that is currently awakened is being eliminated. Everything starts from 0, and the talent remains unchanged. System, Hokage world. Become Otsutsuki Indra yourself. The system is something that Lingth knew about her original world before her death. However, Lingth never thought of all these incredible things. Since it would happen to him, he didn't know whether to call it lucky or unlucky at this moment. He glanced at the surroundings where he could not see his fingers, and the thunder and lightning roared in the sky. He tried to stabilize his emotions and asked the system, "I'm Otsutsuki Indra now?" Back to host. Yes. Hearing host's answer, Lingth couldn't help being touched at this moment. Who is Otsutsuki Indra? He is the ancestor of the Uchiha clan. Not only was born with the Eye of a Fairy, the power and spiritual energy of chakra, but also fully inherited the excellent talent of Sage of 6 Paths. That is to say, the present era is still Otsutsuki Heigromo's. As for Hokage Ninja, Lingth has seen it in the original world, but the basic plot has almost been forgotten, and what has not been forgotten is only the one that left a deep impression on him. No, the current era is not that of Otsutsuki Heigromo, but the Sengoku era of Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama. The Sengoku era? You brought Indra here, and Uchiha still exists? Indra smiled wryly. What happened in the past still exists. As for the current body of Otsutsuki Indra, it is just a big gift from this system to host transmigration. Suddenly, just at this time, despair. 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 Behind Indra, footsteps were heard. To the pit father system ran away. New book for collection. Indra turned his head subconsciously and looked behind him. Under the handover of thunder and lightning, the 2 figures who supported each other loomed towards him. Who? Wouldn't it be so unfortunate? I just met an enemy? Indra felt a little uneasy. After all, he just knew that he had crossed into the world of Hokage. He didn't know anything about chakra's condensation or the not before the surgery. Although I said that I have watched other ninjas in the anime Hokage ninja release ninjutsu, but who would have thought that I would need to use it one day? Who's where? Come out for me. A survivor of the Senju clan shouted towards Indra's back. Indra stood up slowly. Because of the night, the Senju clan could only see clearly with both eyes. In front of him was just a child, but his appearance was not very clear. Children? Do we have children joining us in this war? The Senju family man asked the other. Another man thought for a while, then slowly shook his head and said, "No." Then say, "Yes, if we guessed correctly, he should be sent by the Uchiha clan." Ha ha. One of the men sneered a few times, and then went on to say, "Uchiha has nothing to fight anymore, since the child has been sent to the battlefield so soon. It seems that the war with Uchiha is about to come to an end." Another man chuckled. "Since we already know, he was not sent by us, let's get rid of him." Facing the child in front of them, the Senju clan did not relent, because their patriarch Senju Butsuma once said that in the face of the enemy, even if the opponent was a child. He would kill them without hesitation. These ruthless actions are showing his strong sense of responsibility. What he sees in front of him is not a tree, but a forest, and everything is a judgment made for the overall situation. Otherwise, what used to be no threat to you will become your biggest threat in the end. They have always kept in their minds what Senju Batsuma taught. At this moment, Indra also felt the killing intent of the two people in front of him, and he carefully looked at the two people. Our chakra has been exhausted, but I believe that he is just like us. Even if the chakra is not exhausted, there is not much left. The Senju family man said in a deep voice. Well, so, we can only fight with him. 2 jonins and a child are more than enough to do bodywork. After all, the two of them endured the pain and took heavy steps. Although they were seriously injured at the moment, their speed has been reduced a lot, but in the eyes of ordinary people, this speed is extremely fast. But, unfortunately, what they met at this moment was not an ordinary person, but the ancestor of the ninja, Otsutsuki. Indra. Seeing the two tiger-like men rushing towards him, Indra subconsciously jumped back and ducked easily. After the two men dashed to the air, they did not stop, and then jumped again and continued to dash towards Indra. Brush brush. The two fists quickly moved towards Indra. Indra dodged the fists in a flash. The next moment, he stood up and kicked one of the ninjas. He quickly blocked Indra's feet with both hands, but it was kicked away by the gravity of his feet. The moment the kick flew into the air, the men of the Senju clan quickly flicked their hands, and the kunai in their hands flew out towards Indra. Seeing this, Indra quickly flipped back a few somersaults. Laugh middle dot middle dot middle dot. Kunai is stuck on the ground. This kid's actions are really beyond our expectations, the Senju family man said in a deep voice. Originally, they thought that they could easily get rid of the child in front of them, but they didn't expect it, and it was often the opposite of what they thought. Yeah, are the children of the Uchiha clan so strong in physical skills? Another man also sighed. If this person is not removed, it will definitely pose a huge threat to our Senju family in the future. So, today, I will try my best to kill such a child. Chakra agglomeration method and seal method are being transmitted for host. Congratulations to host for getting the Hokage package. After the transfer is completed, the system will leave the host within 1 minute, and when the time is ripe, the system will be activated on the host again. What? Leave? Indra was a little stunned at the moment. 3 Heavenly Killing System New Book Collection. The author kneels and begs for a wave of flowers, monthly tickets, rewards, and collections. In the novels he has read before, he has never seen any system, but he will leave if he has not read it. Isn't this a fool system? Wait, aren't you kidding me? You kidnapped me to this place, but you ran away. Indra couldn't help complaining about the system when she heard that it was about to leave. After Indra's voice fell, the system did not answer, and it was estimated that it had already run away. After a while, Indra couldn't help laughing bitterly. This system is definitely the most annoying system he has ever seen. Fortunately, when he came, the system had already given Indra's body. Otherwise, he would use his own body to travel to the world of Hokage, and he was probably killed, and he didn't even know how he died. Boom. In the second that the lightning flashed, dozens of black shuriken fell from the sky. The second the Koma shuriken pierced the air, Indra quickly flipped back a few somersaults. Da. Suddenly, dozens of shuriken appeared in the ground, deeply inserted into the ground. It's now. A Senju clan man in front shouted loudly. It turned out that just now, one of the men from the Senju clan, with the help of his companions to launch an attack, and against the backdrop of the night, sneaked behind Indra. Want to take this opportunity to attack Indra. But what they never imagined was that Indra had already found out when the man acted. Indra made a seal with both hands in a second, and said softly, lightning style. The principle of lightning style is to concentrate chakra on a certain part of the body or the whole body, and then generate lightning through nature transformation to perform ninjutsu. With a screeching sound, a cloud of blue and white lightning flew towards the Senju clan man who had attacked him. Boom! A mass of charred corpses fell directly to the ground. He couldn't even feel the pain, and he was already dead. Liu-O. The remaining Senju clan man shouted hoarsely. Lightning style middle dot snake technique. Indra made a mark on both hands again, turning into a lightning bolt all by herself, and instantly came to the back of the remaining Senju clan, heavily on his abdomen, and punched him fiercely. Hey! The man's throat was sweet, and a mouthful of blood spurted out of his mouth, followed by flying upside down for several meters. With a bang, he fell to the ground. They didn't think until the last moment that their lives were about to be ended by a child. Cough cough. The man from the Senju clan was lying on the ground sluggishly, and while coughing, bright red blood kept pouring out of his throat. Indra stepped lightly, slowly approaching him. I really can't believe that the children of the Uchiha clan can be so strong. The man looked up at the sky, watching the looming thunder and lightning, and smiled bitterly. You may be disappointed, I'm not from the Uchiha clan, Indra said coldly. What? The man was startled for a moment. Not from the Uchiha clan? Would that still be the family's child? For a while, the man couldn't imagine that besides the Uchiha family, there were also children from that family who could be so tyrannical. The moment you kill me, you should think about your own fate. Indra raised her fist. Scoff. Scoff. Blue and white thunder and lightning gathered on his fist. Who are you? The man asked even at the last moment. It doesn't matter who I am, Indra said softly, shaking her fist. With a snap. After passing the surrounding, everything quieted down again, only the rain continued to fall, and thunder occasionally sounded above the sky. Indra looked up at the sky. He knew that from today onwards, killing will be a regular thing in the days to come. He gritted his teeth and didn't forget to complain. I have never seen such a crap system. Suddenly, he seemed to suddenly remember that before the system took it away, he seemed to have given him a gift called Hokage. However, the next moment, he was a little confused. What about things? Where did it go? Indra felt that it was very likely that he had been trapped by the system. Goddamn system, Indra muttered. The sky was getting brighter, and the downpour that had been raining all night finally stopped. At this moment, Indra was stunned when she saw the scene in front of her. For that child is in danger. New book for collection. The entire canyon was dyed pale red, and the corpses were piled up like mountains. Their faces were so white that their scalps were numb. Looking at this scene, Indra couldn't help being touched. He knew that in this Sengoku era, the average life expectancy of ninjas and commoners was only about 30 years old. One of the important reasons for the decline in average life expectancy was even young children. They also have to go to the battlefield, and a large number of children died on the battlefield so easily. What a terrifying number this is. Huh. Indra sighed softly. Now, he must find a place to live and cultivate safely. Otherwise, even if you are Indra, the ancestor of the ninja, you will still be knocked out. Shenking system, the Hokage Sengoku era of Shenking. Indra muttered helplessly. After half a day, Indra has been searching for a habitat along the road for a long time. Along the way, I have not seen any ghost villages, but I have seen a lot of skeletons. He lay under the tree, eyes closed, and rested. I don't know how long it took. Dong dong dong. The sound of heavy footsteps woke Indra. Indra quickly stood up, and looked around vigilantly. There's not going to be a war around here, Indra muttered. Dong dong dong. The sound of heavy footsteps was getting closer and closer, and Indra couldn't help frowning. How could she be so unlucky? She just ran out of the pile of dead people. Before half a day had passed, he let his own struggle again. Rustling. Suddenly, in the grass, a huge wild boar rushed out, and behind the wild boar, there were several children desperately chasing, shouting loudly. Cute little pig, don't run. Brother, do you think braised is delicious, or is it steamed? A little boy asked the older boy while chasing. It's delicious, as long as we can't let him run away. Senju Hashirama whispered. Don't worry, big brother, it can't run away. Indra was relieved when she saw this scene not far away. She originally thought that there was a battlefield nearby, but she didn't expect that it turned out to be a few children, chasing a wild boar. Hoo-hoo. After the wild boar roared a few times, it suddenly stopped, turned around, and rammed into the men behind. This sudden scene scared the Senju Hashirama brothers who were chasing the wild boar. Tobirama, Banma, Tama, be careful, he's coming towards us. Senju Hashirama shouted subconsciously, then jumped quickly and jumped onto a big tree. Brush brush. The rest also jumped up quickly. They didn't dare to face such a huge wild boar. His pair of fangs was no joke. Dong dong dong. The wild boar kept hitting the tree they were standing on, trying to enter Senju Hashirama, and they were shaken off. Big brother, look at him squeaking. If we hadn't run out of chakra, I'd burn it in red. Senju Wajian shouted. Seeing this, Senju Hashirama couldn't help frowning. He had just chased after him all the way. At this moment, his chakra was running out, and he couldn't face the wild boar. This might be a joke. Originally chasing after him, he wanted to wait for him to be exhausted, but he never imagined that he suddenly turned around and aimed at himself. It seems that the fire and steam are gone, Senju Hashirama said softly, and then sat on the branch. The tree was huge, and Senju Hashirama was not worried at all that the wild boar could knock it down. Dong dong dong. The wild boar bumped a few times, raised its head again, and shouted towards Senju Hashirama and the others. Stinky wild boar, come up if you have the ability. Senju Atama made a face at the wild boar below, sarcastically. Seeing this scene, Indra chuckled lightly, and didn't plan to stay any longer. She turned around and was about to leave. Stepping on the dry leaves, he made a rustling sound. The wild boar's ears twitched a few times, and then he turned around immediately. When he saw Indra, he rammed towards Indra like a madman. Woohoo! The wild boar roared. Senju Hashirama saw this scene, his face changed, and he said solemnly, no. The wild boar hit the child, let's go save him. 5. The Senju Clan, Modified Edition. The author is begging for flowers, begging for collection, all kinds of begging. After listening to his elder brother's words, the other brothers were stunned. Save? How to save? You can't protect yourself. Big brother, let's forget it. With our brothers, the chakra is almost exhausted, and we are just going to die when we go down. Senju Atama explained to Senju Hashirama. However, Senju Hashirama doesn't think like this. If he hadn't chased the wild boar by himself, the wild boar would not have come here. If the wild boar had not come here, This scene would not have happened. Senju Hashirama pondered for a while, then said to their brothers, "Then you stay here, the elder brother can go down alone." "Big brother." Before the others had finished speaking, Senju Hashirama said in a deep voice, "Go." After saying that, Senju Hashirama jumped away and quickly chased after the wild boar again. "What about the second brother?" "The older brother went alone," Senju Atama asked worriedly. He knew that with his brother's current strength, it was impossible to beat a wild boar. "Yeah, big brother is really messed up." Senju Wajian couldn't help but worry. Senju Tobirama frowned and said solemnly, "Let's go and support big brother too." The other brothers nodded, agreeing with what Tobirama said. Immediately after, they all jumped off the tree and chased after Senju Hashirama. Despair. 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 Since Senju Hashirama shouted just now, Indra turned his head, heavy hoofs, getting closer and closer to Indra. He didn't panic, he still had confidence in dealing with a wild boar. "Dangerous, get up the tree," Senju Hashirama shouted at Indra as he ran. "That's too late." Senju Hashirama secretly thought to himself, followed by exerting all his strength, jumped up, and with a swipe, Senju Hashirama swiftly flew towards the wild boar like a sharp arrow. At this moment, Senju Hashirama is hoping that his speed can catch up and stop the wild boar, but it is obvious that some have more than enough power. Because the boar is not far from Indra. "Lightning style." Indra muttered silently, and a cloud of blue-white lightning covered his right hand. He stepped forward, raised the lightning in his hand, and threw it towards the wild boar that was running towards him. In an instant, the blue lightning struck the crazy wild boar, and the lightning lingered in its body, paralyzing his whole body. Its body began to sway, and its center of gravity was unstable. The last end was inserted into the ground, and it was still moving. The loose soil on the ground was pushed into a ball by its head. He fell to the ground, his body still shaking. "Call out." After Senju Hashirama was evacuated, he fell to the ground. Seeing this scene, he was shocked. The boy in front of him, who was about the same size as him, had killed this huge wild boar with one blow. After being stunned for a while, the other brothers of Senju Hashirama also rushed over and saw the wild boar lying on the ground, his jaw dropping in shock. The wild boar was knocked down by him alone. Senju Atama said in disbelief. Before, their brothers attacked together, but they were unable to defeat it and reluctantly drove it away, but they did not expect that the child in front of him was about the same age as his elder brother. Since it was defeated alone. "Boar yours?" Indra asked softly. Senju Atama was afraid that Indra would encircle the wild boar, so he said, "We saw it first, but you were the first to attack it." "Itama." Senju Hashirama rolled his eyes at his younger brother who was beside him at the moment. After hearing the words Banma, Indra was stunned and asked, "You are the Senju clan?" Obviously, after Senju Hashirama heard Indra's words, he couldn't help but become vigilant and looked deeply at the man in front of him at the moment. Because, in this era of Sengoku, in order to survive, their surnames cannot be revealed casually, but just as he just said two words, he guessed that the Senju clan of Mori. Who is this man in front of him? Enemy or friend? 6. The Uchiha family who suddenly rose up, new book for collection. For a while, Senju Hashirama really couldn't figure it out. After all, the man in front of him was too mysterious. He was about the same age, but his strength was much stronger than himself. "Are you from the Uchiha clan?" Senju Hashirama took a few steps back, looking at Indra warily. Uchiha. Hearing his elder brother's guess, Senju Hashirama's brothers all became vigilant. "You must know that the Senju clan of Senzai are incompatible with the Uchiha clan." How could they not be vigilant when they heard their elder brother guess that he was Uchiha? "If you are not careful, you will lose your life in minutes." To Senju Hashirama's question, Indra said calmly, "No." Even though Indra said that he is not from the Uchiha clan, Senju Hashirama did not let his guard down because of this and continued to ask, "Who are you then?" Indra thought for a while, then said softly, "Indra." "Indra?" Everyone was stunned for a moment and looked at Indra quietly. They had heard the names of many families, but they really hadn't figured out which family Indra belonged to. Indra nodded. "Which family do you belong to?" Senju Hashirama asked suspiciously. "It doesn't belong to any family." Listening to Indra's words, Senju Hashirama vaguely guessed that he probably belonged to those small families, or perhaps the son of a scattered ninja. Most of these ninjas originally belonged to some powerful families. Because of the war, some survivors survived and did not return to the family. Instead, they choose to live in seclusion, change their surnames, and avoid these wars. After a moment of understanding, Senju Hashirama has completely fooled Indra. Vigilance also slowly relaxed. "Indra, if you don't have a place to go, why don't you come with us?" Senju Hashirama asked softly. This is precisely an opportunity for Indra, because he is looking for a place to live that will help him practice under the protection of the Senju clan. He believed that he would be able to survive in this Sengoku era in a short time. "Big brother is right, if you don't have a place to go, you might as well go with us," Senju Tobirama added. Indra didn't think much of it, and nodded. After all, this is a very beneficial thing for him. After half an hour, under the leadership of Senju Hashirama's brother, Indra came to the Senju tribe. The buildings here are all tents. Obviously, this is not the headquarters of the Senju tribe. Around the tent, there were many wounded ninjas. Medical ninjas in white coats were very busy, and these wounded were the wounded ninjas in the Battle of the Canyon. When passing a tent, suddenly, a medical ninja in a white coat called out to Senju Hashirama. Hashirama. Senju Hashirama's group heard the news and looked over. "What's wrong, Sister Ling?" Senju Hashirama asked curiously. The full name of the Ling sister is Senju Ling, a medical ninja, who was ordered to come to the front line to treat the injured ninja. Senju Hashirama's brothers call Senju Ling's sister, and of course they are afraid of her. Senju Ling walked towards Senju Hashirama, without saying a word, grabbed Senju Hashirama's ear, and scolded angrily, "Why haven't you gone back? If the patriarch knows that you ran out secretly, you are not good fruits to eat." When Senju Ling noticed that there was a strange child behind her, she froze for a moment and asked Senju Hashirama, "Who is he?" Senju Hashirama frowned with a smile and said, "Sister Ling, let me go first. I'm telling you." Senju Ling glanced at Senju Hashirama and let go. Senju Hashirama ran to the back, grabbed Indra, took a few steps forward, and said to Senju Ling, "Sister Ling, this is my new friend, Indra." "Indra?" Senju Ling froze for a moment. "Well, I told you that he is very powerful. He killed a wild boar with one blow. If you don't believe me, see." Senju Hashirama pointed his finger at the wild boar behind the first tent. Senju Ling looked at the wild boar not far away, and at the little boy in front of him, in disbelief. "How is it? Isn't it amazing?" Senju Hashirama stepped forward and said with a smile. 7. The Plan of the Uchiha Family, New Book for Collection. At this moment, Senju Hashirama's eyes suddenly darkened, and he felt a slight pain in his ears. "Sister Ling, let it go, it hurts." Senju Hashirama shouted hesitantly. Senju Ling glanced at Senju Hashirama, then let go of his hand, and instructed, "You guys, hurry up and get out of here, this place is very dangerous. Do you understand?" "Sister Ling, we know, let's leave." Senju Hashirama put on a repentant expression. "Yeah." Senju Ling nodded and took a few steps closer to Senju Hashirama. His expression suddenly changed, not to mention how terrifying his expression was. "If I know that you haven't left, next time, I won't forgive you lightly." Senju Hashirama was frightened and quickly took a few steps back, swallowed hard, and nodded desperately. "That's good. Big sister has other things to do, so I'll be busy first," Senju Ling said calmly. When he turned round, he gave Indra a deep look, but left without saying anything. Snapped. Senju Hashirama put his hand on Indra's shoulder and said with a grin, "Don't be afraid, don't look at Sister Ling's fierceness, actually, it's been good to us." "Really?" Indra nodded, not daring to be interested in Senju Ling's affairs. "So, are we going back now?" Indra asked. "Idiot, we're not going back, we have to stay and help." Senju Hashirama clenched his fists and said excitedly. Hearing this, Indra was a little puzzled. Indra still had some impressions of the original Senju Hashirama. He was the one who firmly opposed children going to the battlefield. Now, bring your own brother to the front? Could it be that because of his arrival, everything has changed? This is very surprising to Indra. At this moment, what they didn't even know was that the Uchiha family had sneaked into the forest not far from their tent. Most of the people in the tent survived yesterday's battle. If we are dispatched now, it is estimated that we will be able to annihilate them all in half an hour. A man from the Uchiha clan said softly. Uchiha nodded, and then said, "That's right. If we attack now, we will be able to wipe them all out in half an hour. If we delay like this, things will not be so simple when the reinforcements from the Senju clan arrive. Since the situation is basically clear, let's attack immediately." Well, the mission starts. The first team is attacking from the front, the second team and the third team are flanking left and right, and the rest are with me in case they escape from the back. Uchiha said. "Clear." "Okay." After 5 minutes, let's start. Uchiha dropped a sentence, and quickly led some Uchiha's men to run to the place behind the tent. Just like that, a battle is about to start. At the moment, most of the Senju clan in the tent were seriously injured because of yesterday's battle, and no more than 20 of them could fight. If Uchiha invaded, it is estimated that they might not be able to survive even half an hour. After a while, a sound suddenly broke the peace at the moment. The Uchiha clan is here. This sound completely made the severely injured Senju clan despair. They had no ability to fight or escape. The only thing they could do was to wait for death. Under such circumstances, they couldn't help but despair. The people of the Uchiha clan were found in the front and on the left and right, and they were rushing towards us. A sound rang again. All the Senju clan who could fight also quickly took their weapons and prepared for battle. And those medical ninjas were ordered to retreat by the captain of the Senju clan this time, and one survived. After all, in this Sengoku era, the role of medical ninjas is huge. Hashirama. Senju Ling panicked when he heard that the Uchiha clan were coming. Immediately following, she quickly ran in the direction just now, muttering, "Hashirama, Tobirama, Itama, ... You must not have an accident. Although it is said that Senju Xiling is not Senju Hashirama's sister, but Senju Xiling treats Hashirama as his own younger brother. 8. When the battle begins, you step back. New book for collection. Naturally, you wouldn't want them to have an accident. At this moment, Senju Hashirama also heard the shouts of the Senju clan men. The opportunity is here. Let's go help. Senju Hashirama clasped his hands and said excitedly, "Okay, eldest brother, I've been waiting for this opportunity for a long time. The damn Uchiha clan, I must let him pay his debts with blood." Senju Tobirama said angrily, "Wajian, you and Banjian are still young. Hide in the tent, and I can go with Tobirama." Senju Hashirama said in a deep voice. Just at this time, Indra took a step forward and said calmly, "You will die." At this moment, we don't even know how powerful Uchiha is, and attacking him rashly will only cost us our lives in vain. Don't worry, big brother Indra, my big brother is very strong. Senju Watanabe explained to Indra. Strong? Several people chased a wild boar, and then was killed by the wild boar. This kind of strength was very strong, and Indra couldn't help but smile bitterly. Perhaps they were too naive when they were young, and they still didn't understand what the meaning of the battlefield was. The other party is the Uchiha clan, famous for Sharingan, who is good at one of the 3 major pupil arts. Sharingan is no joke. Da. Senju Xiling ran desperately, but he didn't expect that Senju Hashirama and his brothers were still around the tent at the moment. Immediately, my heart began to feel uneasy. Hashirama. Senju Xiling clenched his fists and shouted angrily at Senju Hashirama. "It's over. Sister Ling is here." Seeing Senju Xiling rushing towards him, Senju Hashirama couldn't help but gasped, and was stunned. "You idiots. Didn't I just tell you to leave here?" Senju Xiling came to Hashirama in the blink of an eye, but this time it was probably because of an emergency, so he didn't teach Senju Hashirama a lesson. "The people of the Uchiha clan are here, and Tobirama and I are going to help." Senju Hashirama did not hide from Senju Xiling, but spoke his mind. "The two of you are so weak now, and in the past you would just die in vain," Senju Xiling said solemnly. "The Uchiha clan on the side rushed towards us. If we don't run, we won't have a chance." Indra added, "Quick, don't say anything. Run back with Sister Ling," Senju Xiling said anxiously. As soon as Senju Xiling's voice fell, Indra said in a deep voice, "Don't you feel strange? There are people from the Uchiha family in front, left and right, but not in the back." Senju Hashirama nodded, agreeing with what Indra said. Indra is right, maybe there are people from Uchiha who ambushing us behind. Senju Xiling started to panic. At this moment she really didn't know what to do. "Brother, what should we do?" Senju Tobirama asked softly. Senju Hashirama pondered for a moment, then asked Indra, "Indra, what can you do?" "There are still ways, but there are still great risks." Indra didn't know why at the moment. She was in a lot of trouble, but she was calm. "Let's talk. It's better than sitting still," Senju Xiling said softly to Indra. Indra nodded and explained, "First, we don't know if there is an ambush by the Uchiha clan behind, so if we go one way, I feel the greatest risk. The second is that we are in the front, left and right. These 3 directions see opportunities and rush out. Of course, this risk is also great." Suddenly, right at this moment, with a swipe, a man from the Uchiha clan wearing a loose black robe landed next to Indra, and then began to sneer. "Hee, I never thought that there would be children here." In the blink of an eye, Senju Xiling pulled Indra and Senju Hashirama behind him, blocking himself in front, and said coldly to the man from the Uchiha clan, "What do you want to do?" "What?" The Uchiha man laughed lightly, and then continued, "Isn't what you said nonsense? What else can you do other than kill you guys?" Senju Xiling turned his head helplessly, glanced at Senju Hashirama and Indra, and said softly, "Hashirama, Indra, Sister Ling is blocking you in front of you, run as you said." The Uchiha man grinned, waved the knife in his hand, and rushed over, saying, "Do you think you can run?" Die. 9. The shocked Uchiha clan new book collection. When he reached a certain distance, the Uchiha man jumped up, smiled horribly, and raised his long sword with a cold light in his hand to slash directly at Senju. Senju Xiling witnessed what was happening in front of her and didn't dodge, because the people standing behind her were all children. However, her idea was still too naive. Even if she blocked her way and was killed by the Uchiha men first, the Uchiha men would not let those children go. At this critical moment, Senju Xiling suddenly felt that something was pulling him behind him. In an instant, Senju Xiling was stunned, and her eyes flashed. 2 children appeared in front of him, and these 2 children were Indra and Senju Hashirama. "Come on, are you okay?" Senju Hashirama clasped his hands and asked Indra next to him. "You still worry about yourself?" Indra sneered back. "Get out of the way!" Senju Hashirama shouted. Rush! Indra and Senju Hashirama hurriedly jumped, and the next moment, a cold light flashed, and the attack from the men of the Uchiha clan was gone. After the emptiness, with his years of combat experience, he quickly made the next move, slashing at Indra instantly. "Go to hell, Ha ha ha. The Uchiha man showed a bloodthirsty expression while waving the longsword in his hand. Be careful, Indra, Senju Xiling shouted aside. Indra didn't panic either, and silently muttered, lightning style middle dot instant body technique. Indra instantly turned into a blue and white thunderbolt, and in the blink of an eye, it appeared above the Uchiha man and kicked it. However, the Uchiha man leaned and avoided Indra's blow. Immediately after that, he quickly landed on the ground and sneered. It's useless, you can't avoid my eyes. As he said that, he raised his head slightly, his eyes suddenly turned blood red, and Shangu slowly turned. Indra was stunned for a moment, but not too surprised. He sneered at the man in Uchiha, and said, I just said, no wonder you can dodge my blow. It turned out to be Sharingan. The most ironic thing in the world is that his grandson drove the Sharingan and came to him with a proud look. The more Indra thought about it, the more angry she became. The system of Shenking put herself into this pitiful world of the Hokage Sengoku era. Did not see. Indra thought about it and shook her head helplessly. Well, you're scared. The Uchiha man laughed smugly. The corners of Indra's mouth raised slightly, and she didn't say much. She muttered again, lightning style middle dot instant body technique. With a swipe, Indra turned into a blue-white thunderbolt again, disappeared instantly, followed, and suddenly appeared behind the Uchiha man. The Uchiha man used the Sharingan, and when Indra got behind him, he found out, and he turned around sharply. Lightning style. Indra shouted. Zizizi. A group of lightning quickly flew towards the Uchiha man. Uchiha quickly jumped, avoided the group of lightning, and landed smoothly on the ground. However, the next moment, he couldn't be as calm as he was just now, and beads of sweat could not help but form on his cheeks. This kid. When did the seal be made? The speed is so fast that even I can't see it. The Uchiha man was slightly shocked inside. Although he said that he has several years of combat experience, but in this scene, the enemy's seal is so fast that he can't see it. This is the first time he has encountered it. You really surprised me. The Uchiha man sneered. He knew that if the child in front of him was not killed now, it would definitely become a big hidden danger for the Uchiha family in the future. Really? Indra sneered. However, the more you shock me, the more determined I am to kill you. So, are you ready? Uchiha man said, clenching the long sword in his hand, and strode towards Indra. Go, Indra. Then, Senju Hashirama found two long swords out of nowhere and threw one of them towards Indra. Indra jumped up, caught the long sword, raised it and slashed at the Uchiha man who was running towards him. Two incomparably sharp swords collided, making a bang, 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 sound. Call out. The Uchiha man quickly jumped to the back, jumped several meters away, quickly put his long sword in place, quickly made a seal with his hands, and then shouted, fire style, great fireball technique. Come on, the author has already saved 3 chapters, let's kill the author. More flowers coming soon. 10 Uchihas catching up new book collection. After that, the Uchiha man took a quick breath, and then spit out a flame, which quickly flew towards Indra. The speed of the flame was very fast, and in the blink of an eye, it had already hit Indra, followed by the sound of an explosion that ushered in a boom. The golden fire continued to burn. Ha ha. Seeing the scene, the corner of the Uchiha man's mouth raised slightly and he chuckled lightly. It seems that the receipt is not small today. It can not only annihilate many ninjas of the Senju clan, but also kill a genius of the Senju clan. At this moment, his voice just fell, and suddenly a voice came from his ear. Is it? When are you coming behind me? The Uchiha man was stunned for a moment, and beads of sweat came out in the second time, and his blood-red eyes looked to the edge. Lightning style. Indra muttered silently. The blue and white lightning gathered in his right hand, and with a drink, struck directly at the Uchiha man's back. With a snap, the Uchiha man was directly knocked into the air by lightning style. After tumbling underground for a few laps, he crashed directly into the tent, followed by the entire tent collapsing, covering the Uchiha man. After a while, there was no movement at all inside the tramp tent, and Indra didn't care whether he was dead or alive at the moment. The most important thing now was to escape from Uchiha's encirclement. Although it is hot to say that Indra's chakra is sufficient at the moment, but facing the 20 or 30 pairs of Sharingan, the older body is okay. He is not worried, but this is the body of a child. No matter how talented you are useless. Senju Hashirama ran towards Indra, scratched the back of his head embarrassedly and smiled. Hey, I didn't help me in the battle just now. But, Indra, you are really amazing. Immediately following, Senju Hashirama's brothers also came over and praised. Indra, you are too powerful. Senju Xiling stretched out his hand, put it on Indra's head, and said softly, thank you. Indra just smiled faintly and didn't say anything. If it weren't for her actions just now, Indra would not have been able to help. All these compliments are enough. Now what we have to do is to escape from Uchiha's encirclement. Indra said in a deep voice. Indra, we listen to you, we do what you say, Senju Tobirama said. After the battle just now, the Senju Hashirama brothers also worshipped Indra very much, and they all believed that as long as they listened to Indra, they would be able to escape the siege of the Uchiha clan with the least risk. At this moment, several figures suddenly descended from the sky, and they were ninjas of the Senju clan. When they saw Senju Hashirama, they were stunned for a while, and then said to Senju Hashirama, "Hashirama, haven't you gone back? Why are you still here?" When he said this, he couldn't help frowning, because now the matter is big. He can't guarantee that he can walk out alive. Now is not the time to say this. Let's find a way to send these children out. Senju Xiling said aside. The man glanced at Senju Hashirama's brother. When he saw Indra, he stopped his gaze and asked curiously, "Who is he?" "Indra. If it wasn't for him, we probably wouldn't be able to survive now," Senju Xiling explained aside. Indra just nodded and said nothing. The men of the Senju clan couldn't care less and said, "Okay, come with me quickly, we can hold the Uchiha clan on the right." After speaking, he turned around and ran, and everyone followed. Look to the right to evacuate. At this moment, at the back of the tent, Uchihazi led his small team and slowly walked to the last tent at the back. "It looks like it's almost over." Uchiha looked at the situation. Everything was within his expectations, and smiled slightly. Suddenly, a voice sounded beside Uchihaji. "Zip." Look to the right. The ninjas of the Senju clan are covering a group of children who are escaping for their lives. Uchihaji slowly cast his eyes to the right, stunned for a moment, and then continued, "If you see people on the battlefield, there are no children, but enemies." In Uchihaji's eyes, on the battlefield, not someone on his side, regardless of whether it is a child or an adult, as long as it appears on the battlefield, it is the enemy, and it should be killed. 11 Indra's 3 Jade, New Book Collection, Part 1, Ask for Flowers, Ask for Support. "Old Irons, leave the one on the right to me, you can just keep it here," Uchiha ordered, then jumped alone and ran quickly to the right. "Today, none of you want to run," Uchiha thought to himself. On the other side, under the cover of the Senju clan, Indra and Senju Hashirama had broken out of Uchiha's right encirclement and were running towards the forest. "Are we safe?" Senju Utama asked Indra as he ran. Indra looked back and found that there were no Uchiha clan people who had not caught up, so he said in a deep voice, "Theoretically yes, but something will happen in the next moment, who knows?" "So, we haven't gotten rid of the Uchiha clan yet?" Senju Tobirama frowned. "Who knows, just run as fast as you can," Indra said calmly. After this incident, Indra also deeply realized that following Senju Hashirama and the others, it is simply impossible to practice peacefully. So, now he has also made a decision. After the Uchiha clan has been chased, he will no longer travel with Senju Hashirama. If he continued to follow him, Indra roughly thought about what the consequences would be. Either he would be chased by the Uchiha clan, or he would be chased and killed by the Uchiha clan. This kind of pit method is almost comparable to the system. As the youngest Senju Utama, after running for a long time, he couldn't stand it any longer, so he suddenly stopped. Rest for a while, I can't stand it anymore," Senju Utama said breathlessly. "Itama, hold on for a while," Senju Hashirama said. Senju Utama wanted to keep going, but suddenly felt tired and stopped. The moment everyone stopped, Indra clearly sensed that there was a Chaku approaching him in the distance. "Come on," Indra said solemnly. "Who's here?" Senju Hashirama became worried when he heard Indra's words. "It is estimated to be from the Uchiha clan, and possibly your Senju clan," Indra reasoned. "Itama, come up quickly." Senju Xiling squatted down and waved his hand, motioning for Senju Utama to come on her back. Senju Banma nodded and quickly mounted on Senju's back. "Let's go quickly. If Uchiha's people catch up, it will be over," Senju Xiling said uneasy. "It's too late." "There. Here," Indra said solemnly. As far as the naked eye can see, a man from the Uchiha clan was rushing towards Indra. "It's from the Uchiha clan," Senju Hashirama said uneasily. For a while, Senju Hashirama's brother lied to Senju Xiling, but Indra was a little stunned. He didn't know why he was so calm, and he was in trouble. "Indra, without you, we probably won't be able to run. Take my brother and sister Ling to run first. I think I can hold back for a few minutes." Senju Hashirama silently made up his mind and decided to stay alone. Delaying time. "Big brother." Senju Hashirama's brothers shouted that they did not accept their elder brother's decision. At this moment, Indra suddenly laughed lightly and said, "I can't run anymore, come here." Indeed, with their ink, even if they could have run away, they were wasted by them. Indra doesn't care, he has his own way to make himself retreat, but if you add other people, Indra can't guarantee it. Just as Indra's voice fell, a tree branch not far away shook, and a figure suddenly appeared, and he was Uchihaji. He was dressed in a black robe, carried a long sword on his back, and folded his hands on his chest. His long black hair was blown by the breeze brought by his speed. "Give up the idea of running away, you can't run," Uchiha said in a deep voice. Everyone except Indra had a desperate look on their faces, looking at Uchihaji uneasily. However, Uchihaji seems to be enjoying the feeling. "I saw him jumping lightly, jumping off the branch, and after falling to the ground, he stretched out his hand, pulled out the long sword on his back, and gave Senju Hashirama a Shinigami smile. This smile made Senju Hashirama feel the chills behind their backs. 12 Indra's 3 Jadam idol. "Brother, what should we do?" Senju Tobirama asked worriedly. Senju Hashirama shook his head. His expression was very stiff at the moment. His eyes were fixed on Uchihaji, not daring to take it away. What else can be done? The best way is to fight him hard, Indra said calmly. At the moment, this is indeed the only feasible way. It is impossible to escape. Whoever escapes first at this moment will definitely be the first target Uchiha wants to kill. Don't make unnecessary struggles, it will only make you more miserable. Uchiha said calmly. If you don't struggle, you will die. If you struggle, it's not certain who will live. Senju Hashirama said. Huh? You mean you think you kids can kill me? Uchihaji sneered, waving his long sword at Senju Hashirama. Okay, I'll make you feel how naive you are in this idea right away. After saying that, Uchihaji clenched the sword in his hand and ran towards Senju Hashirama. Everyone be careful, here we come. Senju Hashirama shouted loudly and quickly prepared. Lightning style. Indra muttered silently, her right hand was directly covered by blue and white lightning, and threw it directly towards her Uchihaji. Uchihaji was a little caught off guard, but he didn't expect that since there would be a child suddenly releasing ninjutsu towards him. He hurriedly changed his body, barely dodging lightning style. Go to hell. It was at this moment that Senju Hashirama seized the opportunity and jumped up, clenching his fists and hitting Uchiha directly in the head. Normally, Senju Hashirama's fist was a few centimeters away from Uchihaji, and the blow was sure to hit. The corners of Uchiha's mouth raised slightly. Sharingan, open. Uchiha's black eyes suddenly turned blood red. The three-hook jade slowly turned, and at this moment, Senju Hashirama's movements also stopped. 3 Gu. Indra couldn't help frowning, and the situation in front of her became a little tricky. Big brother, what's the matter? Why don't you move? Senju Wajian said suspiciously. When the Uchiha people are in great pain, the strong emotions will stimulate the special chakra in the brain, and feed back to the visual organs, causing the eyes to change. This is the pupil of the soul, known as Sharingan. Indra said in a deep voice. Sharingan? Senju said. That's right, Senju Hashirama can't move at the moment, because he was hit by Sharingan's illusion. Indra said softly. Uchihaji looked at Senju Hashirama in front of him, grinned and said, now, it's time for you to recognize the reality. Saying that, he slowly raised the long sword in his hand and aimed it at Senju Hashirama. No, the big brother is in danger, Senju Tobirama said, and ran directly towards Uchiha Zizi. At this moment, no matter what happened, his eyes were only to save his brother. Don't look him in the eye, Indra ordered, followed by silently saying, lightning style, instant body technique. Uchiha's blood-red eyes squinted into the corners of his eyes, then he turned around and kicked Senju Tobirama, who was jumping directly at him. But the moment he turned around, Indra appeared directly above him. The lightning style in his hand was ready, and he raised his hand to hit Uchihaji's body. What happened? Where shouldn't he be? Why did it suddenly come to the sky above me, since a child can use such ninjutsu? Snapped. Uchihaji was directly knocked to the ground by Indra's blow, and with a rumbling sound, billowing smoke was splashed. As Uchihaji's chakra was suddenly disturbed, the illusion that he used on Senju Hashirama was also disbanded. Dead? Senju Hashirama asked. Indra shook his head and said solemnly, no, I can still feel the existence of his chakra. He is stronger than the Uchiha man we just dealt with. In the thick smoke and dust, Uchiha made a seal on his hands and said, fire style great fireball technique. Call middle dot middle dot middle dot middle dot middle dot. Suddenly, the smoke formed a Uzumaki, and at the same time, a cloud of great fireball was sprayed directly at Indra and them. Indra and Senju Hashirama dodged quickly, and the fireball hit a big tree and ignited a raging fire. It's unfortunate, since I met a Uchiha who opened the 3-Gu jade. Indra muttered. 13 Indra's 3 hooks. End. The Uchiha family is famous for Sharingan, one of the 3 major pupil techniques. Sharingan's eye-opening conditions are generally strong emotional stimulation, and then pupil power can be enhanced through training. For ordinary Sharingan, the more hook jade, the stronger the pupil power, and it can evolve to 3-hook jade at most. The Uchiha clan in front of him has already opened 3 Tomo Sharingan, and his strength is absolutely no trivial matter. Even though the Indra at the moment has more chakra than the average person, it is not an easy task to deal with a man who has 3 Tomo Sharingan. Indra and the other group stared at the thick cloud of smoke, because they didn't know what was going to happen in the next moment. At this moment, with a swoosh, Uchihaji, in the smoke and dust, jumped up, followed closely, and landed on the ground again, the corners of his mouth raised slightly. He put his eyes on Indra and sneered, it seems that if I don't solve you first, I can't go to the next step. After all, he had returned to black eyes. At this moment, it turned into a blood red, and Sangui told the rotation, let's go together, so I feel that the odds of winning will be higher. Senju Xiling said to Senju Hashirama and Indra. Senju Hashirama raised his head slightly and glanced at him suspiciously. Senju Xiling asked softly, can you do it? Don't worry, Although my ninjutsu is medical, I still have confidence in my taijutsu, Senjutsu said in a deep voice. Senju Hashirama nodded. Okay, you stand up in front, I'll see the timing behind and attack him with ninjutsu. Remember, don't look him in the eye, Indra said in a deep voice. Got it, Senju Hashirama shouted. Immediately following, Senju Hashirama's brothers and Senjutsu quickly ran forward, with Uchiha as the center, surrounded him in groups, and then quickly attacked him. Boom. 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 Even if several people went together, it did not pose any threat to Uchiha. Go to hell, bastard. Senjutsu raised his legs and kicked Uchiha in midair. It's useless, you can't escape my eyes, Uchiha said calmly. The next moment, he changed his shape, dodged Senjutsu's blow, and then kicked back. Senjutsu flew out in an instant, hit a big tree, and fainted. Sister Ling, Senju Hashirama's brothers shouted one after another. Indra looked at Senjutsu under the big tree not far away, and couldn't help muttering, this is what you call confidence in your physical skills. Damn it, you bastard. Senju Hashirama shouted angrily, and then quickly ran towards Uchiha. Bang. 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 Senju Hashirama was also kicked up by Uchiha and fell heavily a few times. He quickly got up again and gave Uchiha a grim look. It's useless, Uchiha said solemnly. Senju Hashirama turned his eyes towards Indra and said, isn't it okay? Indra suddenly wanted to vomit a mouthful of old blood, and retorted, it's not even a minute, not even 10 rounds, we have lost one person, and he has Sharingan. Do you think it's so easy to find opportunities? Senju Hashirama frowned and said calmly, okay, friend, I put my life on you. After saying that, Senju Hashirama let out a smile at Indra, and charged up again. The same is true of their brothers, who ran up one after another. Within a short span of 2 minutes, Senju Hashirama's brothers had all collapsed and fainted. Only the embarrassed Senju Hashirama was still standing with difficulty. Who? Senju Hashirama gasped wildly, his eyes not daring to take his eyes off Uchiha's body. This time, it was Uchiha who attacked Senju Hashirama. At this moment, above the midair, a voice suddenly sounded, super large lightning style. But Uchiha didn't panic, but let out a smile, as if he had been waiting for a long time. Saying that, Uchiha suddenly disappeared, and the one below was Senju Hashirama. Not good. Indra hurriedly changed the direction of the super large lightning style, but Senju Hashirama was still attacked by the aftermath of the super large lightning style and fainted. Indra fell to the ground with her back to Uchiha. At this moment, Indra was alone. Ha 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 ha, what's up? Cannibalism is fun. Uchiha laughed. Yeah, it's really interesting. Indra turned around slowly, raised her head slightly, her originally black eyes turned blood red at this moment, and the 3-hook jade slowly turned. 14 The suppression of chakra, flowers plus more, ask for flowers, all kinds of requests. When Uchiha saw this scene, he was stunned for a moment, and he couldn't help but take a few steps back, and beads of sweat appeared on his face. 3. Threat Omo Sharingan. What the hell is going on? Uchiha said in surprise. In his knowledge, only the Uchiha clan can open Sharingan, but why? The child in front of him who is not of Uchiha clan can also open Sharingan. And at a young age, Sharingan has already reached the level of 3 Jade. How terrifying is this? Even if it is placed in the Uchiha family, it can still be called a genius. Are you surprised? Indra asked in a deep voice, staring at Uchiha. Uchiha frowned and asked Indra, who are you? Why do you have the Sharingan of our Uchiha clan? Or, in other words, you were originally a Uchiha clan. Indra stepped forward, slowly walking forward, and said calmly, it's all irrelevant. Ha 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 ha. Uchiha couldn't help laughing, and then said, whether you are from the Uchiha clan or not, but if you use the Sharingan to fight against the Uchiha clan, you don't deserve these eyes. So, I will destroy him with your eyes, and you must die too. After saying that, Uchiha swung the long sword in his hand and ran towards Indra. Lightning style, instant body technique. After Indra finished reciting silently, the whole person suddenly disappeared, and the next moment appeared behind Uchiha. Uchiha squinted his eyes slightly towards the corners of his eyes, and muttered, this is another trick. When did he seal the seal? Super lightning style technique. Indra said silently. A huge cloud of blue and white lightning covered his hands. The super large lightning style technique, which is basically the same as lightning style, concentrates chakra on a certain part of the body or the whole body, and then generates lightning through nature transformation to perform ninjutsu. The super large lightning style technique just increases the amount of chakra and increases its attack power, but the time to start ninjutsu also increases by 1 second to gather chakra. Indra slammed the oversized lightning style in his hand towards Uchiha with a sigh. Uchiha frowned, but with his years of war experience, at this moment, he didn't panic, but made a quick jump to jump out of the range of this super large lightning style. A bang! The super large lightning style hit, and the sand and stone were instantly thrown away, and the aftermath created a strong wind, centered on Indra, and spread out in all directions. The surrounding trees were crumbling, and even some branches were scraped off by the power band of the aftermath. Afterwards, a thick cloud of smoke filled the surroundings, but Indra, who has Sharingan, have no influence on the line of sight. Cough. Uchiha coughed a few times and slowly got up from the ground. Just now, Indra's super large lightning style didn't completely hit Uchihaji. The reason why he flew upside down for dozens of meters was because the aftermath of the super large lightning style bounced him off. I'm amazed by the amount of chakra this kid has. Uchiha frowned. Now he already knew that things were getting tricky. If he was as careless as he was just now, then there will be no doubt that he will be killed by the child in front of him. Suddenly, in midair, a voice sounded. Oversized lightning style technique. Uchiha was stunned for a moment. The beads of sweat on his face reappeared, and he muttered, "What?" "Come again." Sizzle. The airflow brought by the super large lightning style technique directly cut through the smoke and dust, and with a loud noise, a large group of thunder and lightning appeared in the air. Fly away. With a bang, the explosion sounded again. After dodging the oversized lightning style technique, Uchiha chanted silently, making a seal with both hands, and said, "Fire style, Fanfiction Hyo technique." Followed by the rapid spit from the mouth, dozens of fireballs. Fire style middle dot Baxian Hyo technique, which continuously spit out fireballs from the mouth. The attack trajectory is like the fruit of the balsam, and the trajectory of the fireball can be manipulated by chakra. Dozens of fireballs flew directly towards Indra, collided with each other in the blink of an eye, and made a violent explosion. Hey! Suddenly, Uchiha's pupils widened, and the originally blood-red eyes suddenly changed back to their original appearance. Cough. He coughed violently a few times, and blood kept gushing out of his throat. 15 Vortex Hidden Village New Book Collection. Ask for flowers, a monthly pass, and a reward. He lowered his head with a slight trembling. At this moment, a small hand penetrated his abdomen, and a slight blue-white lightning was emitted from the small hand. "What? When did you come behind me?" Uchiha said hesitantly. "Hey." Indra took his hand out of his abdomen and shook it a few times, removing a lot of blood from his hand. "When you were using fire style, I used lightning style instant body technique to come behind you," Indra said solemnly. "Really?" Uchiha chuckled lightly, and suddenly fell to the ground wobbly. In Indra's eyes, Sangui suddenly disappeared, and the eyes returned to their original shape. Looking at Uchiha's back, Indra shook his head helplessly. "I didn't want to be an enemy of you. But since you have the intention to kill me, it is impossible for me not to kill you, even if it is possible that I have something to do with you," Indra said in a deep voice. He patted the soil on his body. His white clothes had been dyed yellow by the yellowing soil. He moved a few times, looked at Senju Hashirama's group lying on the ground, and thought for a moment. In the end, Indra decided not to go with Senju Hashirama and left alone. After a long time, Senju Xiling's eyelids, who fell under the tree, twitched a few times, followed by opening his hazy eyes, and the pain in his head hit instantly. She quickly covered her head and said, "Okay. It hurts." The next moment, she seemed to have thought of something, and quickly stood up and looked around. "Hashirama, Tobirama, tile room, board room," Senju Xiling shouted as he moved to look for it. When she saw the big pits around, she couldn't help swallowing her saliva and muttered, "What a fierce battle happened before here." "Hashirama, you must not have any trouble." Thinking of this, Senju Xiling became even more worried. She hurriedly kept searching, and after a while, she finally saw Senju Hashirama underground, and her whole body suddenly began to suppress. "Hashirama." As she said that, she ran over quickly, and when she knew that he was still breathing, she felt the big stone in her heart falling. "Hashirama, can you hear what Sister Ling said?" Senju Hashirama's eyes shook a few times, and then slowly opened his eyes. When he saw Senju Xiling in front of him, he asked, "Are you all right, Sister Ling?" After speaking, he immediately sat up again, looked around, and said, "Where are the people from the Uchiha family?" "Dead. The body is not far behind you," Senju Xiling replied. "Where's Indra?" "Where did Indra go?" Senju Hashirama continued. Senju Xiling shook his head and said in a deep voice, "Since I woke up, I only saw the body of this man from the Uchiha clan, but Indra didn't know where it went." "What about Tobirama and the others?" Senju Hashirama quickly stood up and ran towards the direction where they were lying, until he was relieved to see that they were only slightly injured. A few days later, Indra didn't know where she was, and looking at a stream in front of her, Indra decided to wash her face. The icy stream hit his face, and he was instantly refreshed. "So cool," Indra said softly. At this moment, under a big tree, several red-haired children stuck their heads out and looked at Indra by the creek not far away. Look, his hair is so weird," said a young child. Another red-haired woman said to the younger child, "Shh, don't say it so loudly, don't be heard by him." The little boy nodded, and then continued, "Look at his hair, it's different from ours." After Indra heard the movement, she turned her head slowly. "No, it was discovered. Let's run." The red-haired girl quickly pulled the little boy and ran. Indra froze for a moment, but didn't catch up. Looking at their backs and their red hair, he seemed to have thought of something. In the original Hokage, Indra remembers that the red-haired ones belong to the Uzumaki clan. Did I come to the territory of the Uzumaki clan? Indra muttered. 16 Uzumaki Maito strikes new book for collection. In the original Hokage, the Uzumaki family, a family that is good at sealing, has extremely strong vitality, delays the judgment of death, and a huge amount of chakra, even strong enough to suppress the tailed beast. Red hair is its hallmark feature, and when chakra is consumed in excess, the hair turns white. Most of the residents in the village have long lifespans, so the Uzumaki village where the Uzumaki family lives is also known as the Longevity Village. Like the ancestors of the Senju clan, they are also the second son of Sage of Six Paths, Otsutsuki Ashura. Indra knew more or less about the fate of the Uzumaki clan. The powerful sealing technique of the Uzumaki clan frightened the various ninja clans in Sengoku, so they rallied to attack them, which was the main reason for their demise. With a swipe, Indra lay on the ground quietly looking at the blue sky. The last time I fought the Uchiha clan, if it wasn't for the fact that I had a chakra that was bigger than others in my body, it would have been a duel. However, in that battle, Indra still had a lot to gain, dragging the blessing of the Uchiha clan and opening 3 Tomo Sharingan himself. It's time to practice properly, Indra muttered. Indeed, in this Sengoku period, those with power can survive, and the weak will only be slaughtered in that world. In the long-term future, Uchiha Madara and Sanju Hashirama will become the legends of this era, and their strength is definitely not trivial. Indra sat up. The system only gave him this body, and more strength still needs to be cultivated by himself. Indra's talent is above Uchiha Madara. If Uchiha Madara is called a genius, then Indra is a genius among geniuses. It's decided. Let's choose a habitat here. Indra stood up slowly and looked at the village not far ahead. Of course, it is impossible for him to enter the village, because if he enters the village, he is likely to be attacked by the group and they will recognize them at a glance. The reason must be known to everyone, because the Uzumaki clan are all red-haired. After looking around for a while, Indra decided to build a place to sleep under a large rock a few kilometers away from the creek. But before that, he had to wash his yellow clothes that were stained with mud. A few days later, on top of the big rock. On this day, after Indra's practice, he is sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. At this moment, the trees next to him suddenly shook a few times. The withered and yellow leaves fell as they fluctuated. A figure flashed past and hid behind a huge tree. Indra opened his eyes slowly. The movement just now had already reached his ears. He stood up slowly, looked towards the tree, and said solemnly, "Who?" As soon as the words fell, a figure jumped up, and she waved her hand, and dozens of lily swords flew towards the rock where Indra was. Indra jumped back, dodging her attack with ease. At this moment, the figure also fell, and the appearance was revealed in Indra's eyes. She is about 7-8 years old, with red hair and a bald head, wearing the same white robe as Indra. And she is the princess of the Uzumaki clan, Uzumaki Maito. She didn't know where Indra was, but just today, a nice Uzumaki girl who played with her told Uzumaki Maito that there was a very strange guy next to the creek. Too curious, Uzumaki Maito sneaked over to see what happened. "Who are you?" Uzumaki Maito asked Indra in the distance. For Uzumaki Maito's question, Indra did not answer immediately, but instead asked, "Who are you and why are you disturbing my practice?" "I asked first," Uzumaki Maito countered. Indra took a deep look at Uzumaki Maito and said solemnly, "If that's the case, then don't ask everyone. Where did you come from? Where did you go back? And today's event, you can pretend that you didn't see it." "No," Uzumaki Maito said. Indra ignored her words, turned and walked towards a log cabin on the rocks. "I'm telling you, I'm a ninja. I'm very good." Uzumaki Maito tried to intimidate Indra. Indra nodded, but didn't look back, and said, "I know you are a ninja from your actions just now, but you are very powerful. But you can't see it anywhere. Also, didn't anyone tell you that you can't reveal your surname casually?" 17 Conditions of Indra New Book Collection. Ask for flowers, ask for a monthly pass, all kinds of requests. After a pause, Indra continued, "But yes, it doesn't make much difference whether you say the last name or not." Indra said that because he knew that the redheads were not 100% Uzumaki, but at least 99.9%. However, whether other ninja groups know about the current Sengoku era, Indra does not know. Uzumaki Maito heard Indra's words, speechlessly refuted, and pointed his finger at Indra angrily. Indra turned her head and leaked a smile at Uzumaki Maito. Immediately after, he turned around again and continued to walk towards his wooden house. "I must give you some color to see." Uzumaki Maito clenched his hands, leapt, and threw dozens of shuriken directly towards Indra. Indra just wiggled, dodging Uzumaki Maito's shuriken with ease. With a few clicks, the shuriken was inserted into the door of the wooden house. Indra shook her head helplessly. If she didn't stop her now, she would probably have her house demolished by the girl in front of her. Thinking about it, Indra walked quickly to the door of the wooden house, pulled out a shuriken, turned around, and said to Uzumaki Maito, "Just right, I created a ninjutsu myself, and I have nothing to experiment with." "Do you mean to use me as an experiment?" Uzumaki Maito asked suspiciously. "No, No, I said can you not be seated right? That's all I said. With that, Indra picked up the shuriken in his hand. Shuriken? Indra smiled faintly, but didn't say anything, but held the shuriken in his hand, and said silently, fire style, Hot Wheels. After all, Indra quickly threw the shuriken in his hand, and suddenly, the moment the shuriken was thrown, the shuriken suddenly burst into flames. Immediately following, while spinning, a strong wind was brought up. But with a swoosh, the burning shuriken flew into the sky. Indra froze for a moment, but didn't care too much and muttered, it seems that it still needs some good practice. Indra turned around again, pulled the remaining shuriken from the door, and said, I will accept these shuriken. But Uzumaki Maito, who saw the scene just now, was stunned. He originally thought that Indra's self-created ninjutsu was a joke. When he used it, Uzumaki Maito was a little unbelievable. How can he create his own ninjutsu at such a young age? Uzumaki Maito asked in shock. What? Is it strange? Indra asked back. It's a bit strange if you can develop ninjutsu at such a young age, but I don't believe it. Uzumaki Maito chuckled. After hearing this, Indra smiled bitterly, waved her hand, and said, it's up to you if you don't believe it. Besides, I didn't expect you to believe it from the beginning. I just told you. Uzumaki Maito gritted her teeth. At this moment she really wanted to teach Indra a lesson from the past. But she also knew from just now that she was not Indra's opponent. So, no matter how angry I am at the moment, I can't help Indra. Am I wrong? Indra added. Uzumaki Maito's chest heaved slightly in anger. After trying to suppress his anger, he said softly, Ninja rules don't reveal your surname. My name is Maito. What's your name? Indra was stunned when she heard the word Maito, and her eyes suddenly glanced at Uzumaki Maito deeply. Uzumaki Maito, Indra had only seen pictures of her growing up, so she didn't know much about her childhood. Indra didn't say her last name either, just replied, oh, what about you? Uzumaki Maito demanded. It's not impossible to tell you, but you have to grant me a request. Indra whispered. No, I didn't even ask you to ask, so I told you. Uzumaki Maito snorted coldly. He had already given up a step, who knew that he was still such a rogue. The problem is that I didn't ask you, and you asked me. Indra whispered. Uzumaki Maito felt like he was about to collapse. No answer. Do not. Sure. Okay, then please go, don't get in my way. Uzumaki Maito, 18 Angry Uchiha Tajima New Book Collection. Thinking that he couldn't help Indra, Uzumaki Maito turned around and tried to leave. However, after she walked a few steps, she found that her curiosity became stronger and stronger, and she felt that if she were to go back at this moment, there is simply no intention to focus on cultivation. Who is he? Why am I alone at such a young age? At such a young age, he possesses strengths that he should not possess. Uzumaki Maito scratched his head, then turned around, looked at Indra's back, and said softly, go ahead, as long as it's not too much, I promise you. Indra turned around and smiled faintly. My conditions are very simple for you. It's better. What conditions? Uzumaki Maito asked. After you go back, you can't tell anyone what you've seen, including me. Indra said slowly. At this moment, he just wants to practice well in this place, and doesn't want to be disturbed by anyone. If Uzumaki Maito went back and told his father what he had seen today, it might cause a lot of trouble. It's such a simple thing. Uzumaki Maito doubted that he had heard it wrong. He originally thought it would be a dilemma for him, but he didn't expect it to be so simple. Indra nodded. Well, I promise you. Uzumaki Maito whispered. Indra chuckled. Indra? What a strange name. Uzumaki Maito said subconsciously. Strangeness? You Uzumaki Maito are even weirder. Okay. Thinking of this, Indra really wanted to complain about her, but at the moment, he was not in the mood to complain. Well, as you wish. I have told you where you came from. You can go back to where you are. Don't hinder my practice. Indra said calmly. Uzumaki Maito thought for a while, then said to Indra, I'll come again. After all, she didn't wait for Indra to answer, and jumped away. Looking at her back, Indra was a little puzzled. Is she so attractive? The territory of the Uchiha clan hall. At this time, Tong Tong, who was at the level of the elders of the Uchiha clan, sat on the chair, silent. And in the center of this hall, Uchiha Tajima, the current patriarch of the Uchiha clan, wrinkled his eyes and said solemnly, I asked you to come here. I think you all know what we are going to discuss. The crowd nodded. Boom. Uchiha Tajima raised his fist angrily and slammed it directly at the tea table next to him. Shame. What a shame. Uchiha Tajima shouted angrily. The patriarch rests his anger. I think there must be differences in the information they reported. I think it's the same. The threat Omo Sharingan has already been activated by treating this child normally. How could it be beheaded by the Senju family's children? Yeah, although Yukihaji said that his strength is not very strong, but being beheaded by the Senju clan's children, I feel that it is too strange. After all, we have seen it with our own eyes and only listened to them. I feel that it is too strange. We have been at odds with the Senju family for many years. Although the specific strength is not very clear, there is a general idea. Call him up. Uchiha Tajima shouted. Not long after, the Uchiha man who attacked the Senju clan camp together last time walked in. The patriarch, and the elders. You are here to give a good explanation. Passing by that day, Uchiha Tajima said. Yes, after Lord Onichiji ordered the Senju clan to be surrounded, it is only a matter of time before they are taken down. Later, did you see the Senju clan's ninjas, who are desperately trying to send a group of children away? Later, Master Z chased after the group of children by himself. After a long time, after we took it down completely, we searched for Master Z along the road, and then saw the body of Master Z. Are you sure that Zizui is a group of children? An elder asked. It is absolutely true, elder. The Uchiha man replied. There must be something wrong in the middle. It is absolutely impossible for Uchiha to be beheaded by a group of children. An elder said in a deep voice. Anything is possible. Uchiha was beheaded by the children of the Senju clan. No one can change this fact. This will be an eternal shame for our Uchiha clan. Uchiha Tajima said solemnly. 19 Hokage Spree new book for collection. The explosion begins. All kinds of requests. Uchiha Tajima, as the patriarch of the Uchiha clan, said so, and they no longer refuted it. And the group bowed their heads quietly. Alas, Uchiha Tajima couldn't help sighing. And then continued, on the surface, the sneak attack on the Senju clan camp is our victory, but only we know the actual situation. In the last sneak attack on the Senju clan camp, most of the Senju clan's losses were seriously wounded, and the Uchiha clan, in addition to the loss of Uchiha Z, also lost a lot of Uchiha clan members. Strictly speaking, everyone's losses are about the same. Lord Patriarch, what should we do next? An elder asked. Let's recuperate for a while, and let the new generation train well. Our new generation must not be worse than the new generation of the Senju family. Uchiha Tajima said in a deep voice. Ever since Uchiha Tajima heard that Uchiha was beheaded by a group of children, he has been stunned. Since the Senju clan has trained the new generation so terrifyingly, if he is not in control of the new generation of his Uchiha clan, Uchiha Tajima firmly believes that even if this generation can compete with the Senju clan, it is difficult to say for the next generation. Okay. The crowd nodded. This is the end of today's meeting. The training of the new generation must be carried out immediately. Uchiha Tajima said in a deep voice. Understood, Patriarch. A few days later, Uchiha Tajima was walking on the training ground, watching the new generation of Uchiha clan training. Every child was sweating, some were practicing kunai, some were practicing physique, etc. etc. After a while, Uchiha's second elder walked up to Uchiha Tajima and said, Lord Patriarch, do you have anything to do with me? Uchiha Tajima nodded. How do you think these children can grow up quickly? Uchiha Tajima asked the second elder in a deep voice. The second elder pondered for a while, looked at the children who were training at the training ground, and said Kaido, training hard. Uchiha Tajima shook his head and said calmly, you're not entirely right. The most effective way to make these children grow up fast is actual combat. Actual combat? The second elder couldn't help but glanced at Uchiha Tajima deeply. Yes, I don't think there is any other way to make these children grow up quickly. So, I want these children to go to the battlefield. Uchiha Tajima said. How to make a child grow up fast? It is estimated that in addition to the most visible effects on the battlefield, other methods are difficult to see effective effects. After the battles on the battlefield, these children are easily transformed, of course, on the premise that they survive. Going to the battlefield is the most effective way for children to grow up, and at the same time, the risk is also the greatest. Patriarch, this. Before the second elder had finished speaking, Uchiha Tajima interrupted. This is the best way, and I naturally know the risk. Uchiha has a B-level mission recently, so let some children follow. Seeing that Uchiha Tajima had made up his mind, the second elder nodded, saying that it was of no use to him. Let the Madara brothers go with them, it's time to give them a good training. Uchiha Tajima instructed. Understood. The Patriarch. Vortex hidden village is far away. Just today, Indra discovered that the Hokage gift package that was left to him by the scumbag system was suddenly activated. It made Indra a little confused, thinking that the deep pit system was deceiving. There are only a few things in the Hokage spree. The first, equal exchange, advanced Mangekyo Sharingan, and eternal Mangekyo. The equivalent exchange is that the original advanced Mangekyo Sharingan needs to evolve into Mangekyo Sharingan after the death of a close person, but with this Hokage gift package, you only need enough hatred to exchange Mangekyo directly. And the way to get hatred is to kill ninjas in exchange for eternal Mangekyo. The second, equal exchange, advanced Rinnegan. The original condition of advanced Rinnegan, when Indra and Ashura's chakra merge, the power of Sage of Six Paths will be awakened, and Rinnegan's eyes will be opened. However, here, hatred points can still be exchanged. Equivalent exchange. The third, activate the chakra attributes, fire, wind, thunder, earth, water, yin. Note, whether or not it was originally. Looking at these things, Indra murmured, it seems that the scrap system has finally done something useful. 20 steel without selling, 2 more repairs. Indra looked at the introduction of the Hokage package and nodded with satisfaction. Among them, the higher the level of beheading the ninja, the higher the hatred value, and the maximum hatred value can be 20 points. The advanced Mangekyo requires 100 hatred points, and the advanced eternal is also 100 hatred points, but for Indra, it doesn't matter if you are advanced or not. When Indra looked down to see Rinnegan, he was startled suddenly. 1000 hatred points? 10 times higher than Mangekyo? That is to say, even if you can get 20 points once, you have to kill 50 high-level ninjas. Indra calculated secretly. High-level ninja, what is that concept? With his current strength, it is estimated that it is still very difficult to kill high-level ninjas, not to mention killing 50. He is not immortal. If he doesn't act trashly, there is still a chance of being counter-killed. Take back what I said. This system is still a very bad system, Indra complained. However, there is nothing that Indra can do. Advanced Mangekyo Sharingan needs to evolve into Mangekyo Sharingan after the death of someone close to him. He came to this Hokage world not long ago. Where did he come from? And no matter what, as for the opening of Mangekyo, he had to get it from the spree. As for Rinnegan, that's a bit of a loss. Indra has not yet decided whether to get it by himself or in a big gift bag. A few weeks later, during this period of time, Indra has developed dozens of ninjutsu by himself, and of course, his physical skills have become much stronger. Many unskilled ninjutsu have also been practiced very well. Over the past few weeks, Uzumaki Mito has come and gone many times, and the relationship has improved a lot, and has regarded Indra as a friend. Swish! The branches trembled a few times. You're here? Indra turned around and said calmly. A dark shadow flashed across the sky, and Uzumaki Mito landed smoothly on the ground. Oh, you found out again. Uzumaki Mito smiled slightly. It's hard not to notice if the movement is so big. Indra chuckled. Kaido. Nonsense. This time I obviously made less noise than the last time. Uzumaki Mito defended. Indra nodded and said, well, yes, it's a little bit better than last time, but, in my eyes, it's still unqualified. Uzumaki Mito pouted. It seemed that it would be difficult to get Indra's appreciation. Okay, next time, I will definitely not be released by you, and then suddenly appear behind you, scaring you to death. Uzumaki Mito said. Well, you can really not be found by me, and then suddenly appear behind my back. It can really scare me to death. Indra laughed softly. Uzumaki Mito naturally heard what Indra meant, basically denying that he could quietly appear behind him. If he did appear, it would mean that his strength was soaring, and it would really scare him to death. You're saying that I won't agree to what you told me last time, so you can find it elsewhere. Uzumaki Mito was slightly annoyed, and put his hands on his chest. Indra smiled wryly. Don't, I'm just joking. Listen to what you mean. Have you already found it for me? Uzumaki Mito nodded. Of course. Is there anything I want to do but can't do? Does that count just now? Indra whispered towards Uzumaki Mito. Uzumaki Mito frowned, thinking how hard it was to get a compliment. If Uzumaki Mito hadn't been Indra's opponent, she really wanted to give him a good lesson at this moment. Sadly, she is no match for Indra. Forget it, I don't care about you anymore. Uzumaki Mito pouted, and then continued. Weapon, are you now? Indra nodded and said, well, if there is. If not, there is no way to get things done. Just last time, Indra asked about Uzumaki Mito weapons and things like that. It's not that he didn't think about finding weapons on the battlefield, but finding weapons on the battlefield is more difficult to find, and most of the weapons on the battlefield are longswords or kunai. Yes, the kind of weapon you described, we really have it there, but the owner of the blacksmith shop, he may not sell it. Uzumaki Mito said softly. Not for sale? Indra asked suspiciously. Uzumaki Mito nodded. I heard from others that that weapon has a story to him. Uzumaki Mito laughed. 21 living weapons, 3 more. There is a story between people and weapons? Indra was stunned. Before this kind of thing, he had seen some TV dramas in which people and weapons were fettered. Uzumaki Mito nodded and said, no way, other blacksmiths don't have the kind of weapons you mentioned, and it takes time to craft them. Then can I borrow it? That kind of borrowing? Indra asked Uzumaki Mito. Uzumaki Mito looked at Indra suspiciously and asked, which kind of borrowing? The secret one. PFFT. Uzumaki Mito couldn't help laughing, and said, does your kind count as borrowing? That's stealing. Indra rolled his eyes and explained, if you steal it, you won't return it. If you borrow it, you will return it. I'll return it to him when I'm done using it. Uzumaki Mito was a little speechless about Indra's explanation. It was obvious that he was stealing, and he had to force it to be so reasonable. Okay, just this one time, I won't help you next time. Uzumaki Mito rolled his eyes at Indra. Indra smiled and nodded. At night, under the leadership of Uzumaki Mito, Indra sneaked into the Uzumaki village and came to the blacksmith shop that Uzumaki Mito said. Because of her identity, Uzumaki Mito followed her into the store. In order not to be found immediately, Indra wrapped her hair with a piece of cloth. Only exposed eyes. Indra walked in with light steps. At this moment, there was a middle-aged man sitting on a chair. When the man saw a child walking in, he asked, whose child? What are you doing with your head wrapped at night? Indra looked at the middle-aged man in front of him with one eye closed, and said softly, Uncle, I have a bug in one of my eyes, can you help me take a look? Uncle was stunned for a while, then stood up helplessly. and said, "Okay, Uncle will show you, and go home as soon as you finish it." Indra nodded. "What a naughty child. You did this at night. Are you running to scare other children?" At this time, the middle-aged man was not at all wary, thinking that some naughty child deliberately went out like this at night to scare other children. Before Indra could respond, the middle-aged man came to his side, squatted down, and said softly, "Okay, open your eyes and show your uncle. Where are the bugs?" Indra hummed, and when she opened her eyes suddenly turned blood red, and the three-hook jade slowly turned. "You." Before the middle-aged man could finish his words, he could no longer move. "Offended, I didn't mean anything," Indra said, and then quickly stretched out his hand and knocked on the middle-aged man's neck. He fainted immediately, and Indra quickly walked to the door and closed the door with a bang. Then walked in and saw what was inside. Indra was stunned. There are countless long swords hanging on the walls, and many large boxes are placed on the ground, and the boxes are full of kunai. "Looks like he's the one that we provided the weapons to the ninjas in Uzumaki village," Indra muttered. Indra looked around a lot, looking for the weapon she needed. After a while, Indra saw a long cabinet above the container. The cabinet was covered with thick dust. It was estimated that it had not been moved for a long time. Indra walked over, moved the cabinet down, blew the dust covering it, and opened it. A long axe appeared in Indra's eyes. Indra looked at the weapon and couldn't help complaining. Is there a story with him for such an ordinary axe? Alas, Indra sighed, and then continued, "It can only be used improvisationally. After all, the long sword is too short for kunai." Indra doesn't have too many requirements. He just wants to find a hand with a longer weapon. However, in the ninja battlefield, kunai are basically used, and there are fewer types of shuriken, long sword and other types. After saying that, Indra closed the long cabinet, turned around, and wanted to leave here. Just as he was going out, a place where Indra was stepping suddenly made a bang. Indra was stunned for a moment, looked down, and said subconsciously, "Empty." Then various conjectures emerged in his mind. Could there be a tunnel or a basement underground? Indra reasoned. 22 hit the server, 4 more for collection. The new book asks for flowers, asks for a monthly pass. Do you have any indication of the 4th update? Could it be that the owner of the blacksmith shop is hiding something besides forging weapons? For a time, various ideas emerged in Indra's mind. After a moment of contemplation, Indra decided to open it and take a look. He put down the long axe in his hand, and then tapped the ground with his hand, making a thump, 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 and he didn't bother to find the switch, so he just muttered a sentence. Lightning style. After controlling chakra, he punched it down, and with a click, the board shattered. Then a dark hole appeared in Indra's eyes. "Really?" Indra muttered, and then said silently, "Fire style." With a swoosh, a flame appeared in his hand. He put the flame towards the hole, and the damp wooden stairs appeared in Indra's eyes. Indra thought for a while, and then walked down. The hole was not very big, about a meter wide. The stairs were damp, and a lot of moss grew. After walking dozens of steps, Indra had reached the bottom, and the bottom was a small house of about 40 or 50 square meters. Indra took the flame in his hand and looked around, but found nothing unusual. He took a few steps forward, and under the light of the flames, a black sickle loomed in his eyes. Indra took a few steps forward, and the flames illuminated the black sickle in front of him, with a red mass on the side of the sickle. "Why is there a sickle here?" Indra asked curiously. Immediately after an idea flashed in his mind. It seemed that this sickle would be better than that axe. "It seems that God really helped me." As Indra pointed out with one hand, the other hand reached over and picked up the sickle. However, the moment he picked it up, Indra was a little stunned. The sickle suddenly softened and bent down. Fake sickle? This was Indra's first reaction. However, the next moment, Indra felt that the chakra on his body was being sucked away by the scythe, and the scythe that was bent down instantly changed to its original shape. Could it be that this sickle has life? Indra said in a deep voice. In the original Hokage, there is a ninja weapon that also has life, and the ninja weapon is named Samada. Samada can be thrown out to attack, and absorb the enemy's chakra, which can be used as physical strength to heal the master. Etc. Just as Indra recalled, the scythe suddenly bent down, and the scythe directly attacked Indra. Indra froze for a moment, then quickly ducked and bent down to dodge. A swipe. The sickle was blown away. Sure enough, is this weapon the same as Samada's owner? Indra said in a deep voice. At this moment, the scythe went down and attacked Indra again. Indra hurriedly turned over, then threw the scythe and hit the wall. After the scythe fell to the ground, it kept jumping and making a clank-clank sound. The action is like a fish landing on the shore. I can't tame animals, let alone weapons, so I can only use the most primitive method. Indra said in a deep voice towards the scythe underground. What is the most primitive way? Hit to suit. In this basement, Indra has to keep chakra under control. If one is not careful, the basement will be trampled and trampled. Not the most deadly. The fatal thing is that it will attract a lot of ninjas from the Vortex village, and then things will become very tricky. Lightning style. Zizzy. In Indra's hands, suddenly a blue-white thunderbolt appeared. Immediately after that, the lightning quickly flew towards the sickle. Zizzy. The lightning spread all over the sickle in an instant, and the sickle jumped even more. It seems to be effective, So here it is, Indra said softly, and then said, lightning style. 1, 2, 3. Indra kept attacking. After a while, Indra stopped and said towards the scythe, if you recognize me as the master, jump a little. If every jump, I will continue. Indra's voice just fell. The sickle quickly jumped a few times. Okay, you'd better not play with me, or go up to the ground and you'll know the consequences. Indra said softly, then walked over slowly and picked up the scythe from the ground. This time, the sickle became completely obedient, what shape it should be, and it did not bend. It's like turning into a lifeless weapon. 23. A new journey, 5 more flowers. Ask silently, is there no flowers in the 5th generation? No monthly pass? Give and sooner so you don't have to suffer, Indra muttered. If the weapon can speak, it is estimated that he will definitely say something. Who knows that you are young and your strength is not weak. Immediately after, Indra walked out of the hole while holding the weapon, put the original long axe in the cabinet, and put it back where it was. As for the entrance to the cave, Indra had no choice but to find a piece of cloth and cover it. Lightning style, instant body technique. Swish. Indra instantly turned into a ball of thunder and lightning, and it disappeared in the blink of an eye. The next moment, there appeared on a roof of the Uzumaki village, and the appearance of Indra immediately startled Uzumaki Maito, who was waiting beside him. What kind of ninjutsu are you? Uzumaki Maito asked hesitantly. In Uzumaki Maito's cognition, this type of ninjutsu has never been seen again, and shock is a matter of course. Indra didn't intend to hide it either. After all, it wasn't a big deal to say it, so he turned to Uzumaki Maito and said, sketch technique? The instant body technique? It's amazing. Since he suddenly appeared beside me without a sound, Uzumaki Maito said, casting an envious look at Indra. If Uzumaki Maito could learn this, she would wake up laughing from her dreams. After that moment, Uzumaki Maito, who thought he knew Indra very well, reappeared and refreshed his view of Indra. This seemingly ordinary child is actually too mysterious. Not only can he develop ninjutsu by himself, but also what kind of instant technique? After thinking for a while, Uzumaki Maito said again, after so long, I thought something happened to you? Don't worry, I just encountered something along the way. Indra chuckled, but for Indra, Xenhao stepped on the entrance of the hole, otherwise, he would be holding the long axe instead of the sickle with life. You didn't hurt that uncle at the blacksmith shop, did you? Uzumaki Maito asked. If Indra hurt the middle-aged man at the smithy, Uzumaki Maito would not blame Indra, but would only blame himself, because he led Indra to the smithy himself. Indra smiled slightly and said, don't worry, he's fine, he just passed out. Hearing Indra say this, Uzumaki Maito breathed a sigh of relief. When she came back to her senses and saw the sickle in Indra's hand, she was a little puzzled and asked, didn't you go get the axe? Why did you get such a weapon? I feel that this weapon is more convenient for the time being, so I don't need the long axe, Indra said softly. Indra didn't tell Uzumaki Maito the matter either, just said a word and flickered. Uzumaki Maito didn't think much of it either and nodded. Well, it's getting late, I should go too, Indra said softly. He must have a good rest tonight, and he will leave tomorrow for Mangekyo Sharingan. He has to do a good job. Don't run away, remember to come back when you're done, Uzumaki Maito instructed. Of course, she said this more in the hope that Indra would come back. She felt that she was quite happy to be angry occasionally. Indra turned around, and while walking, she waved her hand and said softly, got it. The next day, early morning, Vortex Village. When a middle-aged man woke up, he quickly reported what happened last night to the ninjas in the Vortex Village. Although there was quite a stir. However, these are irrelevant, because the Indra at this moment has long since left. However, it was also because of the incident last night that it hit the ninjas in the Vortex Village very hard. What they could never have imagined was that the person who did this was a child. And since they didn't report to the middle-aged uncle, I'm afraid they still don't know anything. 24. The shocked Uzumaki clan patriarch for collection. Lord Patriarch, the owner of the blacksmith shop, just came back to add information. A burly man walked in and said to the head of the Uzumaki clan, who was sitting on the chair in the center of the hall. Patriarch Uzumaki looked at the burly man in front of him, frowned, and said in a flat tone, why, doesn't he seem embarrassing enough? After all, he is also a person who went to the battlefield, since he was attacked by a child. Already, in the past, before the current Uzumaki patriarch took the throne, he used to have a good relationship with the owner of the blacksmith shop. They used to travel together on missions, and their strengths were similar. However, the good times did not last long. The current Uzumaki clan leader and the blacksmith shop on the battlefield, and their opinions diverged. The blacksmith shop was seriously injured because of this, and his feet could not function normally as before. In the end, it was for this reason that the blacksmith shop owner started a blacksmith shop. In the eyes of the blacksmith, he still thinks about the Uzumaki clan. After all, his legs are dead, so he uses his hands to forge weapons for the Uzumaki clan. Lord Patriarch, the owner of the blacksmith shop, just received the latest news. saying that the child belongs to the Uchiha family. The burly man continued to explain. The Uchiha family? When the Uzumaki patriarch heard the 3 words Uchiha, his face suddenly became solemn. The Uchiha clan, together with the Senju clan, is the strongest clan in Sengoku, and all clans are very afraid of them. The Uzumaki family is naturally the same, although their own family is good at stealing. The former chief of the Uzumaki clan suffered from the Uchiha clan and suffered heavy casualties. Later, he narrowly escaped with his life. If it were not for the existence of the Senju clan, the Uchiha clan would have asked the Uzumaki clan to find out. With the existence of the Senju clan, the Uchiha clan did not have the extra energy to deal with the Uzumaki clan. In this way, the Uzumaki family escaped. At this moment, the current Uzumaki family heard the 3 words Uchiha. How could they not look solemn? That is a pervert family. Yes, the patriarch. That's what the blacksmith shop owner said. The burly man said in a deep voice. Patriarch Uzumaki stood up slowly, lingered for a few steps, stopped, and muttered with some doubts, "Isn't the Uchiha clan fighting with the Senju clan? The most important thing is, since Uchiha is not hostile." Thinking. The patriarchs of the Uzumaki clan are a bit confused. In their own perception, Uchiha is not like this. With their character, after the invasion, they will definitely give a big dismount. It implied that Uchiha was not that easy to mess with. But the result was the opposite. After the invasion, no one was killed, and nothing was lost according to the owner of the blacksmith shop. Then why did he invade? To brush his presence? Don't make trouble. In the current ninja world, who doesn't know about his Uchiha family? Unbelievable. The Uzumaki patriarch shook his head. He really Uchiha did such a thing. What's the point? Patriarch, what should we do next? The burly man said in a deep voice. Strengthen the detection power of the border. If you encounter abnormal things, report them immediately. The burly man nodded and said solemnly, "I understand, the patriarch." After that, he turned around and left in a hurry. Uchiha, your family is simply a monster. A child can silently sneak into the territory of our Uzumaki clan. And at this moment, the blacksmith shop, like Chief Uzumaki, the owner of the blacksmith shop, also had a solemn expression, sitting on the chair, silent. After a long time, I don't know what he thought of, he got angry and slammed the table hard. "Damn it, when I tried so hard to get the weapon, it was taken away by a little boy," the blacksmith shop owner said angrily. Many years ago, the blacksmith shop owner got this weapon from the battlefield, fighting with the enemy. But God made a big joke with him in that war. His legs can no longer function normally, he can no longer go on the battlefield, and he can no longer use the weapons he has obtained. Out of selfishness, he did not report the weapon, but secretly hid it. However, he never imagined that one day the weapon would be stolen. The weapon that he had tried so hard to seize is now gone. How could he not be angry? Damn the Uchiha Wave clan. The blacksmith shop owner gritted his teeth. But even if he was angry, it was of no use. 25 My weapon has some temper, 2 more for collection. At this time, Indra was also some distance away from Wujiao village. The sun was very strong at noon. Indra hid under a big tree, rested, drank some water, and looked ahead. After a while, under the refraction of the sun, a few dark shadows suddenly flashed, and Indra stood up instantly, a little wary. The next second, dozens of men in ninja uniforms appeared in front of Indra. However, in the eyes of dozens of men, this disappointment was evident. The white-haired man looked at Indra and couldn't help complaining. "I really don't understand, big brother. This little kid can have anything of value." Another man stepped forward and said softly to the white-haired man, "Second brother, don't blame the big brother. It is natural for the big brother to ask us to come down. Besides, we haven't robbed anything for several days." The white-haired man sneered, pointed at Indra and said, "Even if we haven't robbed anything for a few days, we can't mess around. Look at what this kid has." Indeed, the most valuable thing in Indra's body at this moment is probably the life-bearing scythe on their backs. Originally, Indra thought that he had met a ninja who did not know that family, but after their conversation, he learned that they were a group of robbers. "Hey!" The white-haired man waved his hand helplessly, took a few steps forward, and said to Indra in a deep voice, "Little brother, if you have anything valuable, take it out." "I'm sorry, maybe you guys are going to be disappointed. I don't have anything of value," Indra said calmly. The white-haired man gave Indra a deep look, feeling slightly shocked that a child could be so calm in the face of dozens of robbers. There was no trace of fear at all, and there seemed to be a trace of excitement in his eyes. Could it be that the person in front of him is a fool? The white-haired man shook his head. From the conversation just now, it was absolutely impossible for the child in front of him to be a fool. So what made him so calm? For a time, the white-haired man couldn't figure it out. Another man stepped forward and threatened Indra, "If you have nothing of value, then I will keep your life. I am tough. You may not be able to take it." Indra said calmly. "Ha ha." The white-haired man laughed a few times, patted the man in front of him on the shoulder and said with a smile, "Forget it. I can see that this little brother has nothing of value. I'll go there with the eldest brother." "Just explain." In the eyes of the white-haired man, he is not afraid of those who boast that he is very powerful and has a good background. but is afraid of meeting those who seem to be weak on the surface. Once his bottom line is triggered, death will pull you into the water. That kind of person. He didn't know what kind of person Indra belonged to, but he didn't want to try it. After all, the one in front of him was just a child, and there was really nothing valuable on him. Second brother, are we going to run this trip in vain? The man looked at the white-haired man a little unwillingly and said. The white-haired man chuckled and asked, or else you want to take something from him? Oh. That's all. Let's count us unlucky. The man sighed, and quickly added, I really like the weapon behind you, it belongs to me. Weapon? Indra was startled, then said with a wry smile, my weapon is a bit temperamental, I'm afraid you won't be able to stand it. The man stepped forward, grinned and said, it's a coincidence, I like weapons with temperament the most. Indra nodded, then removed the weapon from the back. If that's the case, then try it. Indra let out a meaningful smile. At this moment, the white-haired man put his hand on the man's shoulder again, and said with a faint smile, fifth brother, forget it, leave this weapon to this little brother for self-defense. The man shrugged, flicked the white-haired man's hand away, and then said in a deep voice, Chen, don't make any further progress, I'll let you go everywhere, I'm giving my big brother face. You think your second brother is amazing. What? When I call you, you are just the second brother, and when I don't call you, you are nothing. Don't forget, the eldest brother is my brother, and you are just my eldest brother's friend. At this moment, the man's anger finally erupted, and it was a burst of humiliation towards the white-haired man.